On his way to marry another woman, a millionaire saw his ex at a bus stop, holding twins who looked just like him. The rain had stopped an hour ago, but the bench at the bus stop still glistened under the morning sun. Inside a black Mercedes, a man grips the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turn white. His tie is perfectly knotted, his suit custom-made, his watch worth more than most people earn in a year. But his hands won't stop shaking. In the passenger seat, his fiancée scrolls through her phone, oblivious to the war raging inside him. "We're going to be late," she says softly. The registry office closes at noon. He nods, but he can't speak, can't breathe. Because 30 seconds ago, he saw something that shouldn't be possible. A woman at a bus stop. His ex-girlfriend. The one he abandoned 4 years ago. And beside her, 2 small children who have his eyes, his smile, his entire face staring back at him from half a block away. His foot slams the brake. The car behind him honks. His fiancée lurches forward. "David, what the hell?" But he can't answer. Can't think. Because if those children are his, if she was pregnant when he left, then everything he built, everything he became, was constructed on a foundation of betrayal so deep it could bury him alive. David Ashley forces his foot back onto the gas pedal. His eyes stay locked on the rearview mirror, watching the bus stop disappear behind him, watching the woman he loved 4 years ago fade into the distance for the second time in his life. Sable Moreno looks up from her phone, studying him with those dark, perceptive eyes that miss nothing. "Someone you know?" The lie forms automatically, smooth as glass. "No. Thought I saw someone. Wrong person." She watches him for another moment, then returns to her phone. "We have 23 minutes before they close. Can you make it?" "Yeah, I'll make it." But his mind is calculating, running numbers he has no right to run, doing math that could destroy everything. 7 years since he last saw Nova Winter. 7 years since he accepted the promotion that required immediate relocation to the East Coast. 7 years since he stood in her apartment and told her she wasn't part of his long-term plan. Those words. God, those exact words. "You're not part of my long-term plan." He can still see her face when he said it. The way something inside her just died. She hadn't cried. Hadn't screamed. She just looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time and hating what she saw. "Get out," she'd whispered. And he had. Packed his bags, caught his flight, started his new position on Monday morning, and never looked back. Except he had looked back. Every single day for 7 years. In quiet moments between meetings. In the space between sleep and waking. In every woman's laugh that wasn't quite hers. David nearly rear-ends a taxi. Sable grabs the dashboard. "David, what is wrong with you today?" "Nothing. I'm fine. Just distracted." By what? By the possibility that he's a father. By the math that won't stop adding itself up in his head. If Nova was 3 months pregnant when he left, and those girls looked about 6 years old, maybe younger, maybe exactly the right age to make this nightmare real. The registry office appears ahead, a bland municipal building with flags hanging limp in the humid morning air. David pulls into the parking lot, cuts the engine, and sits there staring at his hands on the steering wheel. These hands had held Nova's face when he kissed her goodbye. These hands had packed his suitcase while she slept, too cowardly to wake her and face what he was doing. These hands had signed contract after contract, built a company worth $40 million, and never once reached for a phone to call the woman he'd left behind. Sable touches his shoulder. "Are you having second thoughts?" "Yes," he wants to say. "I saw a ghost and she might be raising my children and I can't breathe." "No," he says instead. "Just nervous. Wedding jitters." Sable smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. She's too intelligent not to sense something is wrong, too kind to push. That's the problem with Sable Moreno. She's genuinely good, which makes everything so much worse. They walk into the building together. Sign the papers. Listen to the clerk explain the mandatory 30-day waiting period before the marriage can be finalized. David hears himself answering questions, watches his hand form his signature, feels Sable's fingers intertwine with his as they exit back into the sunshine. On the drive home, he sees it. A billboard. Massive and impossible to miss. Nova's face smiles down at him, professional and radiant beside bold text. Winter Consulting. Building tomorrow's leaders. Sable notices his stare. That's actually a great firm. They handled the restructuring for my father's biggest client last year. The owner is supposed to be brilliant. Some woman who started it from nothing. David's throat closes. He just drives, following muscle memory back to the penthouse he shares with Sable, the life he built, the future he carefully constructed on the ashes of everything real he ever had. But all he can see are two little girls at a bus stop, holding hands, their movements perfectly synchronized in that eerie way twins move, their faces turned just enough that he couldn't see if they had his nose, his chin, his smile. That night, after Sable falls asleep, David stands by the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. His phone sits heavy in his pocket. He pulls it out, stares at the dark screen, considers what he's about to do and does it anyway. He types Nova Winter into the search bar. Her consulting firm's website loads immediately. Professional. Polished. Her bio outlines an impressive trajectory. Founded 4 years ago. Grew from a solo operation to a team of 15 consultants. Specialized in corporate restructuring and strategic planning. Clients across 3 states. Projected revenue in the millions. She'd done all of this. Built an empire. Alone. While he was building his company in another city, she was building hers. While he was climbing toward success, she was creating her own. And if those children were hers, if they were his, she'd done it all while raising them by herself. David's phone buzzes in his hand. Unknown number. He almost doesn't answer. Hello. A child's voice, bright and impossibly curious. Is this David Ashley? His heart stops beating. Who is this? I'm Luna. I found your card. It's really shiny. Are you famous? David's knees go weak. He sinks into the leather chair by the window. Where did you find my card, Luna? At my school. On the ground. My teacher says you're important because you have a fancy title. What's a chief executive officer? It means I run a company. Luna, where are your parents? Mama's in the shower. She doesn't know I have her phone. I'm not supposed to use it without asking, but I wanted to know if you were real. The card looks like it's from a movie. David's voice comes out strangled. What's your last name, Luna? Winter. Luna Winter. My sister's name is Zora Winter. We're twins, but we don't look exactly the same. Zora has a freckle on her nose and I don't. We're 6. Well, we'll be 7 in 3 months. Mama says we're spring babies. The phone slips from his hand. He catches it, presses it back to his ear, but his vision is blurring. Luna. Zora. 6 years old. Born in spring. Which means conceived in summer 7 years ago, when he was still with Nova, when they spent long weekends at the beach house, when she whispered against his chest that she loved him and he was too afraid to say it back. 3 months before he left her. Luna, I need you to tell me. I have to go. Mama's coming. Bye, mister. The line goes dead. David sits in the dark penthouse, staring at nothing, his entire world rewriting itself around this single phone call. A 6-year-old girl named Luna who found his business card. Who has a twin sister named Zora. Who will be 7 in 3 months. His daughters. The word feels foreign in his mind. Daughters. Plural. 2 of them. 2 little girls who've lived 6 years without knowing he existed, who played hand-clapping games at bus stops, who went to school and learned about chief executive officers and found shiny business cards on the ground. Behind him, a door opens. Sable's voice, thick with sleep. You've been out here all night. He turns. She stands in one of his old Oxford shirts, her hair messy, concern etched across her features. Beautiful, patient Sable, who deserves so much better than this. I couldn't sleep, he admits. Talk to me, David. But how can he? How can he explain that one phone call from a 6-year-old has demolished everything he thought he knew about his life? Wedding stress, he lies. It'll pass. Sable studies him with those knowing eyes. My father called last night. He wants to announce the merger at our reception. Make it official in front of everyone. Right. The merger. The carefully orchestrated business arrangement that had saved David's company 3 years ago when bankruptcy loomed. The deal sealed with an understanding. David would marry Sable within 5 years. In return, her father, Robert Moreno, one of the most powerful corporate attorneys in the state, would restructure everything, absorb the debt, rebuild the business from ashes. The price had been clear from the beginning. That's fine, David says. Is it? Sable steps closer. Because you look like you're about to run. I'm not running. You ran once before. I know the story. Your sister told me about the girl you left behind when you moved here. David's jaw clenches. That was different. That was a long time ago. 7 years, Sable says quietly. She was pregnant, wasn't she? The woman at the bus stop yesterday. That's who you saw. The silence stretches between them like a chasm opening in the floor. Finally, David nods. I think so. I don't know for sure, but there were 2 little girls with her. Twins. Sable's face goes pale. Did you know when you left her? No. God, no. I would never have. He stops. Would he? Would he have stayed if he'd known? Or would he have made the same choice, taken the same promotion, chosen his career over everything else just like he did? He wants to believe he would have stayed. But he doesn't trust himself enough to be certain. What are you going to do? Sable asks. I don't know. She turns away, arms wrapped around herself. My father saved your company, David. He gave you everything back. This wedding isn't just about us anymore. I know. If you walk away, both our families lose everything. The merger fails. Your company goes under. My father's reputation suffers because he backed you publicly. Her voice cracks. And I lose you. David reaches for her, but she steps away. Don't touch me right now. I need to think. She leaves him standing there alone with the sunrise bleeding through the windows and his phone burning a hole in his pocket where Luna's voice still echoes. Are you famous? Are you real? He doesn't feel real. He feels like a ghost haunting his own life. The office phone rings an hour later. David's assistant, apologizing for calling on a Saturday. Sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but you have a visitor in the lobby. She says it's urgent. A Miss Winter. David's heart lurches into his throat. Send her up. He straightens his tie, runs a hand through his hair, tries to calm the panic flooding his system. What will he say to her? What can he possibly say after 7 years? The elevator chimes. Footsteps in the hallway. The door to his study opens. Nova Winter stands there. And she's nothing like the memory he carried. She wears a navy dress that screams expensive, her natural hair styled in an elegant updo, diamond studs in her ears. Success radiates from her like light. But her eyes. Those eyes are exactly the same. Dark and deep and currently burning with a fury that could incinerate him where he stands. How did you find me? She demands. No greeting. No pleasantries. I didn't. Luna called. My daughter called you? Nova's voice rises. She found my business card at her school. I think she was curious. Nova closes her eyes, takes a breath. She's 6. She doesn't understand privacy or boundaries. I'm sorry she bothered you. She didn't bother me. Nova, I need to ask you. No. Nova holds up a hand. You don't get to ask me anything. You don't get to show up after 7 years and demand answers. Are they mine? The words erupt from him. Zora and Luna. Are they my daughters? Nova's expression turns to stone. What do you want, David? An apology. Closure. A chance to salve your guilty conscience? I want the truth. The truth. She laughs, bitter and sharp. The truth is I was 3 months pregnant when you told me I wasn't part of your long-term plan. When you said the promotion was more important than what we had. When you chose your career over me without even asking if there might be a reason to stay. David feels the floor drop away beneath him. You didn't tell me. Why would I? You made it very clear where I ranked in your priorities. I wasn't going to trap you with a pregnancy when you'd already decided I was disposable. I never said you were disposable. You said, and I quote, "You're a great person, Nova, but you're not part of my future." Remember that? You said it standing in my apartment, your bags already packed, your decision already made. So I let you go. And I built a life without you. Those girls at the bus stop, David says quietly. They're 6 years old. Almost 7. Are they mine? Nova meets his eyes and he sees everything there. The pain. The anger. The years of struggle he never witnessed. Yes. They're yours biologically. But you're not their father, David. You don't get to claim that title just because you donated DNA. The words hit him like physical blows. I didn't know. Would it have mattered? Would you really have stayed? Given up that corner office, that 6-figure salary, that fast track to executive status? David wants to say yes. Wants to believe he would have made a different choice. But they both know the truth. He chose himself. He always chose himself. What do you want from me? Nova asks, her voice tired now. I want to know them. I want to meet them. Be part of their lives. No. Nova's tone turns sharp as glass. You don't get to walk in and disrupt everything I've built. Zora and Luna have a good life. They're happy, stable, loved. You're a stranger to them. I'm their father. You're a sperm donor who happened to be in love with me 7 years ago. There's a difference. She moves toward the door. Stay away from us, David. I mean it. You made your choice then. Live with it now. Nova, please. I have a company to run and daughters to raise. Alone. Like I've done for nearly 7 years. We don't need you. She leaves without looking back. The door closes with a soft click that sounds like a coffin lid. David stands in his empty study, surrounded by the trappings of success he sacrificed everything for, and realizes he's never felt more bankrupt in his life. His phone buzzes. A text from Sable. We need to talk. Meet me at the house. David drives through the city in a daze. The morning sun is bright now, traffic building, the world moving forward while he spins backward through 7 years of mistakes. Sable is waiting in their living room when he arrives. She's dressed, composed, but her eyes are red. I called my mother this morning, she says. Told her everything. About the woman. The children. Your reaction yesterday. David sinks onto the couch. Sable, I'm sorry. My mother asked me if I really want to marry a man who's in love with someone else. I'm not. Don't lie to me. Not now. Not after everything. She sits across from him. I've known for a while, David. Maybe I've always known. The way you look sometimes, like you're somewhere else. Someone else. I just kept hoping it would change. Sable. Let me finish. Her voice is steady but her hands shake. 3 years ago, when my father offered to save your company, when this arrangement was proposed, I could have said no. I'm 30 years old. I've had other offers, other relationships. But I chose this because I wanted you. Because I thought maybe, given time, you could love me the way I love you. The guilt crushes him. I do care about you. Caring isn't loving. And I'm tired of being the woman you settled for because it was convenient. Because my father's money could save your business. Because I fit into the life you were trying to build. You're more than that. Am I? Then why does it feel like I'm competing with a ghost? David has no answer. Sable stands, moves to the window. Those girls are yours. You know they are. And their mother, Nova, she clearly still affects you in ways I never will. I made commitments to you. To your family. Commitments you're already regretting. She turns to face him. My father saved your company, David. Absorbed millions in debt. Restructured your entire operation. Put his reputation on the line to vouch for you. And in exchange, you agreed to this marriage. I know what I agreed to. Then you understand what's at stake. If you walk away, my father's firm loses credibility. The merged company dissolves. Your business partners pull their investments. Everything collapses. David's head is pounding. What do you want me to do? I want you to make a choice. Her voice breaks. Those girls deserve a father. But I deserve a husband who actually wants to marry me. So decide, David. Because I won't stand at that altar wondering if you're wishing I was someone else. She leaves the room. David sits in the silence, his phone buzzing with messages he doesn't read, his entire carefully constructed life crumbling around him. He pulls up his phone, types a message to Nova. Can we talk? Really talk? Not about the girls. About us. He stares at the words for a full minute, then deletes them. What's there to say? Nova made her position clear. She built a life without him and doesn't want him disrupting it. His phone rings. His father's hospice care facility. Mr. Ashley, your father is asking for you. His condition has deteriorated. If you want to see him, you should come soon. David drives to Westside Hospice in a fog. The building is depressing despite its attempts at cheerfulness. Pastel walls. Artificial plants. Nurses who smile with professional sympathy. James Ashley lies in bed, oxygen tube in his nose, his once commanding presence reduced to bones and paper-thin skin. He'd been a giant of a man once. 6'3". The kind of CEO who could silence a boardroom with a look. Cancer had stolen all of that. David, his father's voice is a rasp. Sit down. David pulls up a chair. They've never been close. James Ashley had been more interested in quarterly reports than parent-teacher conferences. More likely to critique David's business decisions than ask about his life. I got your medical records, David says. Turns out you passed on a rare blood condition to me. And to my daughter. His father's eyes widen. You have a daughter? Twins. They're 6 years old. Almost 7. The girl you left when you moved here. It's not a question. His father has always been sharp, even dying. Yes. James is quiet for a long moment, the oxygen machine hissing in the background. I told you to leave her. Remember? When you got the promotion offer. I said a woman like that would hold you back. Said you needed to focus on your career first, relationships later. David remembers. His father's advice had validated his own fears, made the choice feel strategic rather than selfish. You were wrong, David says. I know. His father's hand trembles as he reaches for a water glass. I built an empire, David. Gave you every advantage, every opportunity. And I'm dying alone in this place with nurses who forget my name. Your mother left me 15 years ago because I chose work over her. You barely visit. And now I find out I have grandchildren I'll never meet. That's my fault. I raised you to think like me. To believe success was the only thing that mattered. And look where it got us both. His father's eyes fill with tears. I'm dying and I can't name a single person who will cry at my funeral because they loved me. Only people who will cry because they lost a business connection. David feels something crack open in his chest. Do you love her? The mother of your children? The question hangs there, impossible to avoid. David thinks about Nova in his office this morning. Exhausted and fierce and completely alone. About the life she built without him. The strength it must have taken. Yes, he admits. I never stopped. Then why are you sitting here? Why aren't you fighting for her? Because I'm engaged to someone else. Because there are business obligations. Family expectations. Because Nova doesn't want me back. His father laughs, which turns into coughing. When he recovers, he says, You're making all the same mistakes I did. Putting duty before love. Business before family. And you'll end up exactly like me. Successful and completely alone. It's not that simple. It never is. But let me tell you what I've learned in this bed, watching my life drain away. None of it matters. The money. The power. The respect. It all disappears the second you take your last breath. The only thing that stays is the people you loved and who loved you back. That's the only legacy worth leaving. David's phone buzzes. A text from Nova. Luna wants to thank you for helping with her medical stuff. Can we meet for coffee? Just the two of us? His heart rate spikes. Sable appears in the doorway. I thought I'd find you here. She looks at James, at the machines, at the evidence of a life ending. Then back at David. That's her texting, isn't it? Nova. David nods. Go, Sable says softly. Go talk to her. What about us? I don't know. But I know you need to figure out what you want before you can be any good to anyone. Including me. David stands, kisses his father's forehead. Thanks, Dad. For what? For finally being honest. He leaves the hospice, drives to the address Nova sent. A small cafe on 7th Street. She's already there when he arrives, sitting at a corner table in jeans and a burgundy sweater, looking like the woman he fell in love with 7 years ago instead of the polished professional who invaded his office this morning. Thank you for meeting me, she says as he sits. Of course. How's Luna? Better. The medication is helping. Dr. Okonkwo says with proper management, she'll live a completely normal life. That's good. They order coffee. Sit in awkward silence until it arrives. Finally, Nova speaks. Luna keeps asking about you. Both girls do, actually. Zora called you, didn't she? David nods. She told me I should start acting like a father. A small smile. She's very direct. Like her mother. Nova's smile fades. I didn't plan this, David. I didn't want them to know you existed. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Why not? Because I didn't want them to be disappointed when you didn't care. When you chose your important life over being their father. The words are arrows. Is that really what you think of me? What else should I think? You left me without looking back. Built an entire life in another city. Never once checked if I was okay. Why would you suddenly care about 2 children you didn't know existed? Because they're mine. Biologically. But being a father requires more than DNA, David. It requires showing up. Being present. Putting them first even when it's inconvenient. Her voice shakes slightly. Can you honestly tell me you're ready to do that? Could he? David thinks about his schedule. Board meetings. Investor calls. The merger announcement. Wedding planning. Where did 2 6-year-old girls fit into that life? I want to try, he says. Trying isn't enough. They're not a project you can fail at and then move on. They're human beings who will remember if you disappoint them. So what do you want me to do? Just walk away? Pretend they don't exist? I want you to be honest with yourself about what you're capable of giving. Because right now, you're engaged to another woman. You're running a company. You have a whole life that doesn't include us. And I won't let you disrupt my daughter's stability just so you can feel better about yourself. David leans forward. What about you? What about me? Are you seeing anyone? Is there someone else in the girls' lives? Nova's laugh is bitter. I run a company and raise twins alone, David. When exactly would I have time to date? Besides, after you, I didn't really trust my judgment in men. The admission hangs between them. I'm sorry, David says quietly. For how I left. For what I said to you. For all of it. Sorry doesn't change anything. Then what would? What would change things? Nova is quiet for a long moment. I don't know if anything can. We're different people now. You have your life. I have mine. Maybe the best we can do is figure out some kind of custody arrangement that works for the girls. Is that really what you want? Joint custody with a stranger? You are a stranger. To them and to me. The David I knew wouldn't have walked away from someone he loved for a job promotion. But you did. So clearly, I didn't know you as well as I thought. Her phone buzzes. She glances at it, frowns. I have to go. Client emergency. She stands, gathering her bag. David stands too. Nova, wait. What? Can I see them? The girls. Not as their father. Just as, I don't know, a family friend. Whatever you're comfortable with. She studies him for a long moment. Why? So you can ease your guilt? So you can tell yourself you tried? Because there's a part of me I didn't know existed. And I want to know them. Even if you never forgive me. Even if they never know who I really am. I just want to see them. Something in her expression softens slightly. I'll think about it. She leaves. David sits back down, his coffee cold, his heart heavy with the weight of everything he lost and can never get back. His phone rings. Sable. Where are you? Her voice is strained. My parents are here. They want to talk about the wedding arrangements. I'm on my way. David, are you sure about this? About us? Because if you're not, we need to end this now. Before it goes any further. He thinks about Nova walking away. About two little girls named Zora and Luna who don't know he exists. About his father dying alone after a lifetime of choosing wrong. I don't know, he admits. I don't know what I'm sure about anymore. Sable is quiet. Then I think you have your answer. She hangs up. David sits in the cafe, watching people come and go, living normal, uncomplicated lives. His phone buzzes with another message. Nova. The school event is public. Spring Festival. Tomorrow at 10. If you want to see them, you can come. But David, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't fix what's broken between us. He types back. Thank you. I'll be there. That night, David doesn't go home. He checks into a hotel, ignoring the calls from Sable, from her parents, from his assistant asking about Monday's meetings. He sits on the edge of the bed and pulls up photos on his phone. Old pictures of him and Nova from 7 years ago. A younger version of himself smiles at the camera, arm around a radiant Nova at some company party. They looked happy. Stupidly, completely happy in that way people are before life gets complicated. He'd thrown that away for a corner office. His phone rings. Unknown number. He answers. Mr. Ashley? A child's voice. Different from Luna's. Slightly deeper. More serious. Yes. This is Zora. Luna's sister. Hi, Zora. Luna told me she called you. She's not supposed to use Mama's phone without asking, but she does it anyway. A pause. Are you really our dad? The question destroys him. Yes, I am. Why didn't you ever come see us? How do you explain adult failures to a 6-year-old? I didn't know about you. Your mama and I stopped being together before you were born. She didn't tell me she was going to have babies. Why not? That's complicated, sweetheart. Mama says grown-ups say things are complicated when they don't want to tell the truth. Zora sounds exactly like Nova. Sharp. Direct. No nonsense. Your mama is very smart, David says. I know. She built a whole company. She's the boss of 15 people. That's impressive. Are you going to come meet us for real? Not just talk on the phone. David's throat tightens. Do you want me to? Zora is quiet for a moment. Luna does. She draws pictures of what she thinks daddies look like. None of them look like you, though. We looked you up on the computer. You're old. I'm 33. That's old. Mama's only 31. Fair point. I have to go. Mama's coming. But Mr. Ashley, if you're really our dad, you should probably start acting like it. Because Mama works really hard and sometimes she cries at night when she thinks we're asleep. And I think she's lonely. The line goes dead. David sits in his hotel room, feeling like he just got lectured by a 6-year-old. And deserving every word. He looks at the time. 9 hours until the school festival. 9 hours until he sees his daughters in person. 9 hours to figure out what kind of man he wants to be. His father's words echo. You'll end up exactly like me. Successful and completely alone. David looks around the empty hotel room, at the expensive furniture and the view of the city and the life he built on the foundation of abandoning the woman he loved. Maybe he's already there. He lies back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, and for the first time in 7 years, lets himself imagine a different choice. A version of himself who stayed, who held Nova when she told him she was pregnant, who was there for every ultrasound, every kick, every middle-of-the-night craving, who saw his daughters born, who got to hold them in those first precious moments. That version of David doesn't exist, can never exist. Those 6 years are gone forever. But maybe, if he's brave enough, if he's willing to lose everything he spent 7 years building, he can be there for the next 6 years. And the 6 after that. And every day that follows. If Nova will let him. If his daughters want him. If he can prove he's more than the man who walked away. Tomorrow, at the school festival, he'll find out. The morning sun cuts through the hotel curtains at 6 a.m. David hasn't slept. He's been lying on top of the covers, fully dressed, staring at the ceiling and running through every possible scenario of what today might bring. His phone sits on the nightstand, silent for once. He'd turned off notifications hours ago, unable to handle the constant buzzing of messages he wasn't ready to answer. Sable had called 17 times. Her mother called 6. His assistant called twice. Even his lawyer had reached out, probably hearing rumors that something was wrong, that the merger might be in jeopardy. David ignores them all. At 7:30, he showers and puts on the most casual clothes he'd packed in his overnight bag. Jeans. A simple button-down. No tie. No expensive watch. He looks at himself in the mirror and barely recognizes the man staring back. When had he become this person? This hollow version of success? The school festival starts at 10. David arrives at 9:45, parking his Mercedes 3 blocks away so it won't stand out. He walks to the elementary school, hands shoved in his pockets, heart hammering against his ribs. The parking lot is already full of families. Minivans with stick-figure decals. SUVs with car seats visible through the windows. Parents laughing and chatting as they unload covered dishes and folding chairs. Children running ahead, excited and loud, their voices carrying across the warm spring morning. David feels like an intruder at someone else's life. He spots Nova immediately. She's near the entrance, carrying a large container of what looks like homemade cookies. One hand holds Zora's. The other holds Luna's. The girls wear matching yellow dresses with different colored cardigans. Purple for one, pink for the other. They're chattering excitedly, pulling Nova toward the building. David's breath catches. Up close, in the daylight, there's no denying it. They have his mother's bone structure. His father's jaw. His eyes, that unusual gray-green that had always made him stand out in family photos. They're his. Completely, undeniably his. Nova disappears inside with the girls. David waits until they're gone before following. He pays the $5 entrance fee, accepts a program from a smiling volunteer, and slips into the gymnasium. The space is decorated with paper flowers and streamers. Long tables hold potluck contributions. Parents mingle while children run around shrieking with the particular chaos of 6-year-olds high on sugar and excitement. David finds a spot against the back wall, half hidden behind a support column. The music teacher calls for attention. Kids file onto a makeshift stage, organizing themselves into wobbly rows. David scans the group until he finds them. Zora and Luna, standing together in the second row, holding hands. They look so small up there. So young and perfect and utterly unaware of the complicated adult drama swirling around their existence. The piano starts. The children begin singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, their voices sweet and mostly on key. Luna keeps looking at her sister, checking to make sure they're singing the same words. Zora stands very straight, serious, focused. David's throat tightens. He's missed 6 years of this. First words. First steps. First days of school. Every milestone, every moment that made up their lives. He'd been absent for all of it. A woman next to him smiles. Which one's yours? The question freezes him. I'm sorry. Your child. Which one are you here for? David can't answer. Can't claim them publicly when Nova made it clear they weren't ready for him. Just supporting a friend's kids, he manages. The woman nods and turns back to the performance. When the song ends, parents applaud. The children bow, giggling and waving. Then they're dismissed to the refreshment tables. A stampede of tiny humans descending on cookies and juice boxes. Zora grabs 2 cookies. Luna reaches for the punch bowl and knocks it over. Red liquid splashes across the table, soaking the tablecloth and dripping onto the floor. Luna's eyes go wide with horror. A teacher rushes over with paper towels, trying to reassure Luna while cleaning up the mess. I didn't mean to. Luna's voice rises, panicked. It was an accident. Nova appears, kneeling beside her daughter. It's okay, baby. Accidents happen. But I ruined everything. You didn't ruin anything. Look, we'll just clean it up. Zora stands nearby, holding her cookies, watching her sister with concern. Want to share mine? You didn't get any yet. Luna nods, sniffling. Zora hands her 1 cookie and they move away from the chaos, sitting together on a bench against the wall. David watches them comfort each other. The easy intimacy of siblings who've only ever had each other and their mother. They're a complete unit. A family that had functioned perfectly fine without him for 6 years. What right does he have to disrupt that? Nova glances up from the spill cleanup. Her eyes find his across the gymnasium. For a moment, she just stares. Then she looks at the girls, back at him, and shakes her head slightly. Stay away, the gesture says. David turns and leaves. In his car, he sits gripping the steering wheel, trying to control the emotions threatening to overwhelm him. He'd thought seeing them would help, would give him clarity. Instead, it just showed him exactly how far outside their lives he stands. His phone rings. Sable. Where are you? You were supposed to meet with the wedding planner an hour ago. He'd completely forgotten. I'm sorry. Something came up. David, you've missed 3 appointments this week. The photographer. The caterer. Now this. If you're not invested in this wedding, just tell me. I'm invested. Are you? Because it feels like you're somewhere else entirely. She's right. He is somewhere else. Standing outside a life he can observe but never be part of. I'll reschedule, he says. I promise. My mother is starting to ask questions. My father too. They're not stupid, David. They can see you're distracted. I know. I'll handle it. Will you? Because in 5 weeks we're standing in front of 300 people making vows. And I need to know you're going to show up. Actually show up, not just physically be there. Sable. I love you. Her voice breaks. I know you don't feel the same way. But I need you to know that I'm not doing this for my father's business or for the merger. I'm marrying you because I want to build a life with you. And it's killing me that you can't give me the same. David closes his eyes. I'm sorry. Stop apologizing and make a choice. Her or me. The past or the future. Because this limbo is destroying us both. She hangs up. David sits in the parking lot while families pack up around him. Children being loaded into car seats. Parents chatting about weekend plans. Normal people living normal lives, uncomplicated by impossible choices and the weight of mistakes made years ago. His phone buzzes with an email from his lawyer. Subject line reads Final Merger Documents. He opens it, scans the dense legal language. The merger between his company and the Moreno family firm is complete, pending one final condition. His marriage to Sable Moreno within the next 8 weeks. Everything is riding on this. His company. His employees' jobs. His business partners' investments. The careful structure Robert Moreno built to save David from bankruptcy 3 years ago. And all he can think about is 2 little girls sharing cookies on a bench, taking care of each other because no one else ever had. That night, David drives back to the hospice. The nurse at the desk recognizes him, waves him through with sympathetic eyes. Your father's been asking for you all day. James Ashley looks worse. The oxygen mask now covers his entire face. His breathing sounds labored even with the machine's help. David takes his father's papery hand. I don't know what to do. His father pulls down the mask with trembling fingers. Tell me. So David does. Tells him everything. The school festival. Watching his daughters from the shadows. Nova's wall of ice. Sable's love and his inability to return it. The merger hanging in the balance. When he finishes, his father is quiet for so long David thinks he's fallen asleep. Then, what do those girls call you? Nothing. They don't know I'm their father. Not officially. And the woman, Nova. What does she want from you? Nothing. She wants me to stay away. So you've got two daughters who don't know you exist. A woman who doesn't want you. And you're considering destroying your entire life to chase that. Put that way, it sounds insane. They're my children, David says. Biology doesn't make you a father. Showing up does. And from what you've told me, that woman's been showing up alone for 6 years. She doesn't need you. Maybe not. But I need them. His father sighs, the sound rattling in his chest. You're making the same mistake I made. Thinking you can fix the past by blowing up the present. You can't get those 6 years back, David. No matter what you do now. So I should just marry Sable? Ignore that I have daughters? I'm saying you need to accept what you lost and work with what you have. Be there for those girls financially, medically. But don't destroy good people's lives trying to play savior to a family that's doing fine without you. David pulls his hand away. Is that what you told yourself when Mom left? That she was doing fine without you, so you didn't need to fight for her? His father's eyes harden. Your mother left because I couldn't give her what she needed. Neither can you give this woman what she needs. 7 years too late, son. Then what do I do? You honor your commitments. You marry the woman who loves you. You support your daughters from a distance. You build the life you chose. David stands. That's not good enough. It's all you've got. He leaves his father's room feeling more lost than when he arrived. In the parking lot, he pulls up his phone, scrolls to Nova's contact. Starts typing. Can we talk? Really talk? Not about the girls. About us. He stares at the words for a full minute before deleting them. What's there to say? Nova made her position clear. She built a life without him and doesn't want him disrupting it. His father is right. He can't get the past back. But as he drives home past the street where he first saw them at the bus stop, David can't shake the image of Zora and Luna sharing cookies, taking care of each other, having no idea their father was watching from the shadows. He'd made a choice 7 years ago. Chosen career over love. Ambition over connection. Now he's facing the consequences. The question is whether he'll have the courage to choose differently this time. The confrontation comes on a Tuesday evening, unexpected and brutal. David arrives at the penthouse to find Sable's entire family in his living room. Her father, Robert. Her mother, Isabella. Her brother, Ricardo. All of them looking like they're ready for war. What's going on? David asks. Robert Moreno stands. He's a large man, intimidating even in casual clothes, with silver hair and eyes that could dissect a contract at 20 paces. We need to discuss the elephant in the room. David's stomach drops. What elephant? Your other family. Isabella's voice is sharp. The woman and her twin daughters. Sable sits on the couch, arms crossed, expression unreadable. She'd told them. Sit down, David. Robert's tone leaves no room for argument. David sits. Ricardo leans forward, his expensive suit straining across his shoulders. We did some digging. Nova Winter, owner of Winter Consulting. Twins Zora and Luna Winter, age 6. Born 7 months after you relocated here from your previous position. I didn't know about them, David says. We don't care. Isabella snaps. What we care about is that you've been sneaking around to see them while engaged to our daughter. I went to one school event. That's it. One that we know about. Ricardo's voice is ice. But you've been meeting with their mother privately. Hospital visits. Coffee shops. Should I continue? They'd been tracking him. The realization is both infuriating and humiliating. Those meetings were about medical issues. Luna has a genetic condition. They needed my family history. And you couldn't handle that through lawyers? Robert's voice is steel. You had to meet the woman personally, repeatedly. Sable finally speaks. Just tell them the truth, David. Tell them you're still in love with her. The room goes silent. David meets her eyes, sees the pain there, the betrayal, the desperate hope that he'll deny it. He can't. I care about Nova, he says carefully. But that doesn't change my commitment to this marriage. Doesn't it? Robert stands, pacing. 3 years ago, when your company was hemorrhaging money and facing bankruptcy, I made you a promise. I would save your business, absorb your debts, restructure everything. In exchange, you would marry my daughter and merge our families properly. I remember the agreement. Do you? Because that agreement wasn't just about business, David. It was about trust. About family. My daughter gave you her heart and you gave me your word. Now I'm hearing that word might not mean anything. Ricardo adds, we've invested millions in your company based on this merger. Our family's reputation is tied to yours. If you walk away, everything collapses. I'm not walking away, David interrupts. Then what are you doing? Isabella demands. Because from where we sit, you're having an emotional affair with your ex-girlfriend while planning to marry our daughter. It's not an affair. We haven't. We don't care about the physical details. Robert cuts in. What matters is where your heart is. And it's clearly not with Sable. Sable stands abruptly. Can everyone please leave? I need to talk to David alone. Her family exchanges looks but eventually files out. Robert pauses at the door. You have until the weekend to make a decision. Either you're all in on this marriage or we pull everything. The merger dissolves. Our investments are withdrawn. And you can try to rebuild your company from ashes again. The door closes behind them. David and Sable stand in the sudden silence, the weight of ultimatums and unspoken truths crushing the air between them. I didn't tell them to ambush you. Sable's voice is quiet. My mother figured it out. She has investigators for her own cases. She got curious. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Weren't you? You've been disappearing for hours. Making excuses. Missing appointments. What did you think we'd assume? That I was dealing with a complicated situation. By yourself. Without talking to me. Without including me in any of it. Her voice shakes. I'm supposed to be your partner, David. Your future wife. But you shut me out completely. She's right. He'd compartmentalized everything, kept his world separate, tried to manage the impossible without letting anyone see how badly he was drowning. I'm sorry, he says. Stop saying that. Stop apologizing and actually change something. Tears stream down her face now. Do you know what it's like loving someone who can't love you back? Watching you go through the motions of our life together while your heart is somewhere else entirely? Sable. I'm not finished. You want to know the worst part? I keep hoping you'll wake up one day and suddenly see me. Really see me. Not as the solution to your business problems or the woman who's convenient, but as someone worth loving. Someone worth choosing. You are worth choosing. Then why don't you choose me? She steps closer, vulnerable and raw. I know I wasn't your first choice. I know you agreed to this marriage for practical reasons. But I thought maybe over time you could fall in love with me. Was I delusional? David wants to lie. Wants to tell her what she needs to hear. That he could grow to love her properly. That time would fix everything. But she deserves better than lies. I don't know, he admits. I care about you deeply. I respect and admire you. But when I'm honest with myself, I don't know if I can give you the kind of love you deserve. Sable closes her eyes. Thank you for finally being honest. I'm sorry. If you say sorry one more time, I'm going to scream. She wipes her tears, pulling herself together. I need you to understand something. My father doesn't make empty threats. If you walk away from this marriage, he will destroy you. Not out of revenge. He's not that petty. But because you'll have proven yourself unreliable. And unreliable people don't deserve his help. I know. And Ricardo, my brother. He's not just your business partner. He's the one who brought in most of our major clients after the restructuring. If he pulls out, your company loses 60% of its revenue. David hadn't known that specific number. The reality is somehow worse than he imagined. So here's what happens if you choose her. Sable's voice is steady now. Your company folds. Your employees lose their jobs. Every professional relationship you've built gets destroyed because word will spread that you broke an engagement to chase an old girlfriend. Your reputation in this city will be finished. And if I choose you, we get married. We build a life together. You support your daughters financially and medically, but from a distance. Eventually, maybe you learn to be content, if not happy. She pauses. Or you resent me forever for being the woman you settled for. They stand there in the wreckage of their almost future, both knowing the impossibility of their situation. I need to think, David says. You have 4 weeks until the wedding. Think fast. She gathers her bag, her coat, moves toward the door. Stops. For what it's worth, I do love you. Not the idea of you. Not what you represent for my family. The man who works too hard and drinks terrible coffee and has a weird obsession with organizing his closet by color. I love you, David. And I wish that was enough. She leaves. David stands alone in his expensive penthouse, surrounded by everything his choices had bought him, and feels completely bankrupt. His phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. This is Luna. Mama doesn't know I have her phone again. I wanted to tell you we're learning about families at school. Teacher says families are the people who love you no matter what. Do you love us? The question destroys him. He doesn't know how to answer a 6-year-old's text about love when he spent his entire adult life running from it. Before he can type a response, another message. Mama's coming. Bye. David sits on the couch, phone in hand, and does something he hasn't done in years. He cries. Not dignified tears of a man facing hard choices. The ugly, desperate sobs of someone who finally realized what he'd lost and would never get back. His father's words echo. You can't get those 6 years back, David, no matter what you do now. But maybe he could build something new. Something honest. Even if it cost him everything. The question is whether he's brave enough to try. The medical records request arrives on Wednesday, delivered by courier to David's office. He stares at the letterhead. Winter Legal Services. His stomach turns over. Luna Winter, age 6, has been diagnosed with hereditary angioedema type 3. Treatment requires comprehensive family medical history, particularly paternal lineage. As biological father, your cooperation in providing genetic background is legally requested. David's hands shake as he reads the formal language, the clinical description of a condition he's never heard of. He immediately calls his assistant. Get me the best specialist in blood disorders. I don't care what it costs. 3 hours later, he sits across from Dr. E. Okonkwo, a hematologist who explains in careful terms what the condition means. Not fatal, but serious. Requires monitoring, medication, lifestyle adjustments. Luna would need quarterly checkups for the rest of her life. She inherited it from your side. Dr. Okonkwo says. A rare genetic mutation that skips generations. David thinks of his father in hospice. Thinks of his grandmother who died from a blood clot when David was 10. The pieces clicking together. Do you have your family's medical records? Dr. Okonkwo asks. I can get them. The next day, David meets Nova at the Children's Hospital. She sits in the waiting room, exhausted, her polished armor gone. She wears jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back, dark circles under her eyes. She looks up when he enters, her expression carefully neutral. Thank you for coming. David sits 2 chairs away, maintaining distance. How is she? Stable. They're running tests. Nova's voice is flat, professional. The doctor needs your family medical history going back 3 generations. Genetic disorders. Blood conditions. Anything relevant. I'll get everything. My father is at Westside Hospice. I can request his records today. Nova's head snaps up. Your father is dying? Lung cancer. Stage 4. He has maybe 3 months. Something flickers across her face. Sympathy, maybe. Or just exhaustion. I'm sorry. They sit in silence, surrounded by the antiseptic smell of the hospital and the distant sounds of children crying. David wants to ask about Zora, about how they're handling this, about whether Luna is scared. But Nova's body language screams, don't touch, don't ask, don't pretend you have the right. A doctor emerges. A young woman with kind eyes. Miss Winter, Luna's asking for you. Nova stands, pauses, looks at David. Do you want to meet her? Every cell in his body screams yes. But he sees the fear in Nova's eyes. The way she holds herself rigid, protecting what's hers. Not like this, he says. Not when she's sick and scared. That's not how I want her to remember meeting me. Relief washes over Nova's face. Thank you. She disappears through the double doors. David sits in the waiting room for 4 more hours, even though no one asked him to stay. He scrolls through his phone, orders his father's complete medical records, researches hereditary angioedema until his eyes burn. When Nova finally emerges, it's past midnight. She looks destroyed. She's sleeping. Nova says. They're keeping her overnight for observation. And Zora? With my neighbor. A woman who's been like a grandmother to them. Nova sinks into a chair. I don't have family, David. My parents died when I was 19. It's just been me and the girls since they were born. The weight of that hits him. 7 years of doing everything alone. No help. No support. No one to call at midnight when a child spiked a fever or had nightmares. I'm getting my family medical records, David says. Everything you need. I'll have it to you by Friday. Thank you. I know you don't want me involved, but this condition. Luna's going to need this information her whole life. And if there are genetic things I don't know about yet. Things that might affect Zora too. I know. Nova's voice cracks. I know you're right. I just don't know how to do this. How to let you in without everything falling apart. David wants to reach for her hand. Wants to promise he'll be there, be present, be the father he should have been from the beginning. But promises are cheap when you've already proven yourself unreliable. 1 step at a time, he says instead. Medical records first. Then we figure out the rest. Nova nods, too tired to argue. David's phone buzzes. A text from Sable. Where are you? You missed dinner with my parents. He'd completely forgotten. The pre-wedding dinner with Sable's family. An important event where they were supposed to finalize reception details. Guilt crashes through him. I have to go, he tells Nova. But call me if anything changes. Anytime. I mean it. She doesn't respond. Just sits there in the fluorescent lighting. A woman who'd carried everything alone for so long she'd forgotten how to share the weight. David drives home, walks into the penthouse at 2 in the morning, finds Sable awake on the couch. You were with her, she says. Not a question. Her daughter is in the hospital. Luna. She has a blood condition. They needed my family medical history. Sable's expression softens slightly. Is she okay? Stable. But she'll need treatment for the rest of her life. And you're going to be involved now. Another statement. Not a question. David sinks onto the couch beside her. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just know I can't pretend they don't exist. Sable is quiet for a long moment. My mother asked me tonight if you were having an affair. I told her no. Was I lying? I'm not sleeping with Nova. But you're in love with her. Phil. After all these years. David doesn't answer, which is answer enough. Sable stands, moves to the window. My father built his entire business strategy around our marriage, David. He merged his firm with yours because he believed we were a team. If you walk away now, it doesn't just hurt me. It destroys both our families.
I know. Do you?
Do you really understand what's at stake? She turns to face him. Your company only exists because my father saved it. You were drowning 3 years ago and he threw you a lifeline. The price was this marriage.
You agreed. We both agreed.
I know what I agreed to. Then keep your agreement. Be a father to those girls if you have to. Send child support. Provide medical care. Whatever they need. But don't blow up our entire lives for a woman who didn't even tell you she was pregnant. The words sting because they hold truth. Nova had chosen to raise the twins alone. She'd built a wall around herself and her daughters, and she didn't want David climbing it. So why was he trying so hard to get in? I need time to think, David says. Sable's laugh is bitter. We're getting married in 4 weeks, David. How much time do you need? He doesn't have an answer. She leaves him sitting there in the dark, alone with his thoughts and his failures and the knowledge that no matter what choice he makes, someone he cares about will be destroyed. The engagement party is exactly as lavish as David expects. The Moreno estate sprawls across 10 acres of manicured lawns and careful landscaping. White tents, the property, filled with 200 guests in cocktail attire, sipping champagne and eating hors d'oeuvres that cost more per bite than most people's dinners. David wears a custom tuxedo and feels like he's attending his own funeral. Sable looks stunning in a champagne-colored dress that catches the light with every movement. She smiles and laughs and plays the role of happy bride-to-be with an expertise that breaks his heart because he knows it isn't entirely an act. She wants this. Wants him. Wants the future they're supposedly building. And he's about to destroy it. There's the man of the hour. Robert Moreno's voice booms as he approaches with a cluster of business associates. David, you know Marcus Chen from Titan Investments. David shakes hands, makes small talk, nods along to conversations about market trends and strategic partnerships. His mind is elsewhere. Across the lawn, near the rose garden, he spots a familiar figure. Nova. She wears a deep emerald dress that hugs her curves, her hair styled in an elegant updo. She's talking to someone David doesn't recognize, laughing at something they said, completely at ease in this world of wealth and power because she belongs here now. She earned it. Their eyes meet across the party. Nova's smile falters. She says something to her companion and moves away, disappearing into the crowd. David excuses himself from Robert's group and follows. He finds her near the koi pond, standing alone, arms wrapped around herself despite the warm evening. "You're here," he says. Business circles overlap. Nova replies without turning. "Robert Moreno's firm uses my consulting services occasionally. I was invited professionally. I didn't know this was your engagement party until I arrived. You could have left. I could have. But I'm not going to let you control where I go or what events I attend. I built my reputation in this city. I'm not hiding from you." Fair enough. They stand in awkward silence, listening to the distant sound of music and laughter from the party. "The girls ask about you," Nova finally says. "Luna especially. She wants to know when she can meet you properly. Not just talk on the phone." David's chest tightens. "What did you tell her?" "That you're very busy. That grown-up situations are complicated." Nova turns to face him. "I didn't tell her you're getting married in 4 weeks." "Nova, don't. Whatever you're about to say, don't." Her voice is hard. "You made your choice 7 years ago and you're making it again now. You're choosing this life. This woman. This future. That's fine. It's your right. But don't come to me looking for absolution or understanding. I don't want absolution. Then what do you want?" The question hangs there, impossible and essential. Before David can answer, Isabella Moreno's voice rings out over the sound system. "Can I have everyone's attention, please?" The crowd quiets, turning toward the main tent where Isabella stands on a small platform, microphone in hand. Thank you all for joining us this evening to celebrate the engagement of my daughter, Sable, and her fiancé, David Ashley. We are thrilled to be welcoming David into our family officially. Applause. Sable joins her mother on the platform, smiling graciously. And now, Isabella continues, I'm delighted to announce that we've set the official wedding date. 4 weeks from today, Saturday the 28th. Sable and David will be married at St. Catherine's Cathedral with the reception here at our home. More applause. David feels his throat close. Isabella hands the microphone to Robert, who launches into a speech about family and legacy and the importance of the Moreno-Ashley merger to the business community. David can't hear it. The world has narrowed to the sound of his own heartbeat and Nova's presence beside him. 4 weeks, Nova whispers. You didn't tell me it was so soon. I didn't know they were announcing it tonight. Congratulations. The word is bitter. You're getting everything you wanted. Success. Stability. A family that actually wants you. Nova, please. I should go. This was a mistake. She starts to walk away. David grabs her wrist. Wait. She freezes, looks down at his hand on her skin, then back up at his face. Let go of me. Not until you hear what I have to say. There's nothing to say. You're marrying her. End of story. I don't love her. Nova's laugh is sharp and painful. Then you're even more of a coward than I thought. Marrying someone you don't love to avoid dealing with real feelings. I love you. The words come out raw, desperate. I never stopped loving you. Not in 7 years. Not for a single day. Then what are you doing? Tears well in her eyes. Why are you standing here at your engagement party confessing feelings you have no intention of acting on? Because I don't know if I can go through with it. The wedding. The marriage. The life everyone expects me to have. I look at Sable and I see someone good and kind who deserves someone who can love her fully. And I can't be that person. So leave. Walk away. It is that simple. It's not that simple. It is that simple. You're just too scared to do it. She's right. He is terrified. Terrified of losing everything he built. Terrified of disappointing people who invested in him. Terrified of ending up like his father, alone and filled with regrets. On the platform, Robert is finishing his speech. And now I'd like to ask the happy couple to join me for a toast. David. Sable. Where are you? Heads turn, searching. Someone spots David by the koi pond with Nova. Whispers ripple through the crowd. David drops Nova's wrist. I have to go. Go play your part. Nova's voice is ice. Just don't expect me to wait around for you to grow a spine. My daughters and I are leaving the city. I accepted a job in Seattle. We move in 3 weeks. The words hit him like a physical blow. What? I got the offer a week ago. Triple my salary. Equity stake in a national firm. Fresh start for the girls. I've been thinking about it for a while, but after seeing you tonight, I made my decision. We're done with this city. With you. With hoping for something that's never going to happen. Nova, please don't. David. Sable's voice calls from the tent. We need you for the toast. Nova steps back. Go to your fiancé. Toast your future. And let me have mine. She walks away, disappearing into the darkness beyond the party lights. David stands frozen for a long moment. Then he turns and walks back to the platform, climbs the steps, takes the champagne flute someone hands him. Sable's hand finds his. Her fingers are cold. Robert raises his glass. To David and Sable. May their union be blessed with love, prosperity, and the strength to weather any storm. To David and Sable, the crowd echoes. David raises his glass. Drinks the champagne, tastes nothing, and knows with absolute certainty that he's about to make the biggest decision of his life. Later that night, after the party ends and the guests depart, David sits in his car in the empty parking lot of his office building. He pulls out his phone, scrolls to his father's hospice number. The nurse answers. Mr. Ashley, I'm glad you called. Your father has been asking for you. He's not doing well. If you want to see him, you should come soon. David drives to the hospice, finds his father awake but barely. The oxygen mask covers most of his face. Hey, Dad. David sits in the chair beside the bed. James pulls down the mask with trembling fingers. You look like hell. Feel like it too. The engagement party was tonight, wasn't it? David nods. Did you go through with it? Announce the wedding date? Sable's mother announced it. 4 weeks from now. His father studies him. And I don't know if I can do it. David's voice breaks. Nova's leaving. Moving to Seattle with the girls. If I marry Sable, I lose them forever. You already lost them 7 years ago when you walked away. So that's it? I just accept that I'm a terrible person and move on? No. His father's voice is surprisingly strong. You accept that you made a choice back then that had consequences. And now you're facing another choice with its own consequences. There's no version of this where everyone wins. What should I do? I can't tell you that. Only you know what you can live with. James coughs, wincing. But I'll tell you what I learned too late. Money and power and success, they're cold comfort when you're dying alone. The only thing that matters in the end is the people you loved and who loved you back. Sable's family saved my company. And you've given them 3 years of loyalty and partnership. That's not nothing. But it's also not a reason to marry someone you don't love. David sits in the quiet room, listening to the beep of monitors and the hiss of oxygen. I'm scared, he admits. Of losing everything. Of making the wrong choice again. You're human. Fear is normal. But David, let me ask you this. 30 years from now, when you're lying in a bed like this one, what will you regret more? Breaking an engagement and losing a company, or marrying the wrong woman and never knowing your daughters? The question echoes in the sterile room. His father reaches out a trembling hand. David takes it. I don't have much time left. James says. Days, maybe. Before I go, I want to meet them. My granddaughters. Can you make that happen? I don't know if Nova will allow it. Ask her. Tell her it's a dying man's last wish. Tell her whatever you have to. But let me see them before I go. David nods, throat tight with emotion. He leaves the hospice and sits in his car for a long time, staring at his phone. Finally, he types a message to Nova. My father is dying. He wants to meet Zora and Luna before he goes. I know I have no right to ask, but please consider it. Not for me. For them. They deserve to know they had a grandfather who wanted to meet them. He doesn't expect a response. Not at 3 in the morning. But his phone buzzes. Nova. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. The park on Riverside. 15 minutes. That's all he gets. And David, this doesn't change anything between us. I'm still leaving. David reads the message 3 times. Tomorrow he would introduce his dying father to the grandchildren he never knew existed. And in 4 weeks, he was supposed to marry a woman he didn't love. Something had to break. The park is empty except for a few joggers and one woman pushing a stroller. David arrives early, standing near the playground equipment, watching the entrance. His father sits in a wheelchair, a hospice nurse beside him. James looks terrible. Gaunt. Pale. Struggling to breathe even with the portable oxygen. But his eyes are alert, anxious, scanning the park for any sign of the granddaughters he's never met. At exactly 10 a.m., Nova appears. Zora and Luna walk beside her, dressed in jeans and matching jackets. One red, one blue. They look curious but cautious, holding their mother's hands. David's heart seizes at the sight of them. His daughters. Walking toward him. Real and solid and completely unaware of how much this moment means. Nova stops a few feet away. Girls, this is a friend of mine. Mr. Ashley. And his father. Zora studies David with serious eyes. You're the man from the business card. Yes. That's me. Luna looks at James in the wheelchair. Why does the old man have tubes in his nose?
Luna.
Nova's voice is gentle. That's not polite.
It's fine. James says, his voice raspy. I'm sick.
The tubes help me breathe.
Are you going to die?
Luna asks with the blunt honesty of 6-year-olds.
Luna.
Nova looks mortified. But James smiles.
Yes, sweetie. That's sad.
Zora says, death is when you stop being alive. We learned about it in school.
What did you learn?
James asks. That everyone dies eventually. But before you do, you're supposed to do important things and love people. Your teacher is very smart. Did you do important things? James laughs, which turns into coughing. The nurse adjusts his oxygen. When he recovers, he says, "Can I tell you girls a secret?" They nod, stepping closer. The most important thing I ever did wasn't building a business or making money or any of the things grown-ups usually think matter. The most important thing was being a father. And even though I wasn't very good at it, it was still the best part of my life. Zora looks at David.
Are you his son?
Yes. So that makes you our, what? Nova tenses. David can feel her panic, her desperation to protect them from information they aren't ready for. But before he can answer, Luna says, I think he's our dad. Zora and I talked about it. We figured it out. The world stops. Nova's face goes white. Luna, where did you? Not from you, Mama. Zora says quietly. We look like him. And you always get sad when we ask about our father. And that lady at school said we have Mr. Ashley's eyes. So we figured it out. David can't breathe. Can't think. Just stares at these two brilliant little girls who solved the mystery on their own. Are you mad at us? Luna asks Nova. No, baby. I'm not mad. Nova's voice shakes. I was going to tell you when you were older. When you could understand better. We understand now. Zora says. He left before we were born. You raised us alone. Now he's back, but we don't know him yet. The accuracy is devastating. James speaks softly. Can I tell you girls one more secret? They nod again. I wish I'd known about you sooner. I wish I'd had time to take you to the park and read you stories and be a proper grandfather. But I'm glad I got to meet you now. Even if it's just for a few minutes. You're exactly as wonderful as I imagined. Luna walks right up to the wheelchair. You can hug us if you want. Hugs make sick people feel better sometimes. She climbs carefully onto James's lap. Zora follows, one girl on each side. James wraps his thin arms around them, his face crumpling with emotion. David turns away, tears streaming down his face. Nova is crying too, trying to hide it. They stay like that for several minutes. Then the nurse gently reminds James he needs to rest. The girls climb down. Luna kisses James's cheek. I hope you feel better, even though you're dying. Thank you, sweetheart. Zora lingers, looking at her grandfather seriously. If you're our grandpa and he's our dad, does that mean we have a family now? The question destroys every person standing there. James looks at David. That's up to your father. Zora turns to David. We don't need you. Mama takes good care of us. But if you want to be our dad for real, you have to actually do it. Not just say it. David kneels down to her level. You're absolutely right. Mama says we're moving to Seattle. Luna adds. Is that far? Very far. Oh. Luna looks sad. So I guess you won't be our dad then. Because dads are supposed to be close by. Nova gently pulls the girls back. We need to go. Say goodbye to Mr. Ashley and his father. Bye, they chorus. Nova leads them away. At the edge of the park, she looks back once. Meets David's eyes. He sees everything there. Pain. Resignation. The end of hope. Then they're gone. David stands beside his father's wheelchair, both of them watching the family that could have been disappear. They're remarkable. James whispers. I know. Don't let them go.
I don't know if I have a choice.
You always have a choice. The question is whether you're brave enough to make it. The nurse wheels James back to the van. David stands alone in the empty park, his phone buzzing with messages about wedding planning and merger documents and the life he's supposed to be building. That night, David drives to Nova's house. Her car isn't there. Probably working late or dealing with packing for the move. He sits on her porch steps like he had the night they broke up 7 years ago. Back then, he'd been running towards something he thought mattered. Now he's running from everything that actually does. His phone rings.
Sable. Where are you? You didn't come home.
I needed to think. About what?
David, the wedding is in 3 weeks. The invitations are sent. The venue is booked. My dress is being altered. What is there to think about?
Everything, he wants to say. I'm thinking about everything.
My father met the girls today. Zora and Luna.
They figured out I'm their father on their own. Sable is quiet. Then, how did that go? They're amazing. Smart and kind and completely sure of who they are.
And they're leaving. Moving across the country with Nova in 2 weeks.
David.
I don't know what to do, Sable. I don't know how to walk away from them.
But I don't know how to walk away from you either. And I'm tired of disappointing everyone. Then don't disappoint yourself. Sable says softly. That's worse than disappointing anyone else. What does that mean? It means I know what you're going to choose. I've known for weeks. Maybe I've always known. Sable.
It's okay.
I'm not angry. I'm sad, but I'm not angry. You can't force love, David. Believe me, I tried. He hears the pain in her voice and hates himself for causing it. I'm sorry, he says. I know you are. But sorry doesn't change anything. A pause. There's a company gala tomorrow night. The merger announcement. My father's been planning it for months. 300 guests. If you're going to break this engagement, please don't do it there. Give me that much dignity. I won't. Thank you. Her voice breaks. I really did love you. I want you to know that. I know. And I'm sorry I couldn't love you the same way. She hangs up. David sits on Nova's dark porch, knowing what he has to do and terrified to actually do it. His father's words echo. Don't let them go. But to keep them, he'd have to lose everything else. The sun rises. Nova's car pulls into the driveway. She sees him on the porch, sighs, gets out. You can't keep showing up here, she says tiredly. The girls are starting to ask questions. They already know I'm their father. They told me. I know. They told me too. On the drive home. They're too smart for their own good. Nova sits beside him on the steps. What do you want, David? To be their father. For real. Not from a distance or through child support payments. Actually be there. We're leaving in 2 weeks. Then I'll come to Seattle. Nova turns to look at him. What about your company? Your wedding? Your whole life here? I don't know. I'm figuring it out. That's not good enough. You can't just show up and expect us to rearrange everything because you suddenly decided to care. I've always cared. No, you haven't. You felt guilty. That's different. Caring means making sacrifices. Showing up even when it's hard. Putting them first even when it costs you something. I'm trying to do that. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're a man with 1 foot in 2 different lives, refusing to commit to either. And my daughters deserve better than a part-time father who shows up when it's convenient. She's right about all of it. Tell me what to do, David says. Tell me what it would take for you to trust me with them. Nova stands, arms crossed. I can't tell you that. You have to figure it out yourself. But I'll say this. If you want to be in their lives, you need to make a real choice. Not a maybe. Not a someday. A choice that proves they matter more than your comfort or your career or your fear of losing everything. And if I make that choice, then we'll talk. But not before. I'm not holding my breath waiting for you to grow a spine, David. I did that 7 years ago and it nearly destroyed me. She goes inside, closing the door gently but firmly. David sits on the porch as the morning light grows stronger, knowing exactly what he has to do. The question is whether he actually has the courage to do it. The company gala is everything David expects. Crystal chandeliers, designer gowns, champagne that costs more per bottle than most people's monthly rent. 300 guests fill the ballroom, all there to celebrate the Moreno-Ashley merger and witness the official announcement. David stands near the bar, watching Sable work the room. She looks breathtaking in a silver gown, her smile perfect, her composure absolute. No one looking at her would guess her world is about to implode. Robert Moreno finds him, clasping his shoulder. Big night, David. Ready for the announcement? As ready as I'll ever be. Good. The board is excited about the expansion plans. With this merger finalized, we're looking at tripling our market share within 2 years. David nods, only half listening. His mind is elsewhere, running through what he's about to do and all the ways it could go catastrophically wrong. His phone buzzes. A text from Nova. The girls made you something. Luna wanted me to send it. An image loads. A crayon drawing of 3 stick figures. 2 small ones labeled Zora and Luna. 1 tall one labeled Dad in Luna's messy handwriting. They're all holding hands under a rainbow. David's vision blurs. Another text. They're hoping you'll come say goodbye before we leave. But I understand if you're too busy with your merger and your wedding. We're used to managing without you. The words cut deep because they're true. A server announces dinner. Guests move toward assigned tables. David finds his seat next to Sable at the head table, alongside her parents and brother. The meal passes in a blur of small talk and business discussions. David barely tastes the expensive food, barely hears the conversations around him. He's too busy watching his future unspool. The announcements that will come. The commitments that will be made. The life that will lock into place if he doesn't stop it. Finally, Robert stands, clinking his glass for attention. The room quiets. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Robert's voice carries easily across the ballroom. We're here to celebrate not just a merger, but a union of 2 families. 2 legacies. 2 visions for the future. Applause. David feels Sable's hand find his under the table. Her fingers are cold and trembling. Robert continues, detailing the merger's financial benefits, the strategic advantages, the jobs it will create. He talks about legacy and family and the importance of honoring commitments. Then he turns to David. And now I'd like to invite David Ashley to say a few words about what this merger means to him. Everyone looks at David expectantly. Sable squeezes his hand once, then lets go. A warning or a goodbye, he isn't sure. David stands. Walks to the podium. Looks out at 300 faces. Business partners. Investors. Colleagues. Friends. All of them waiting to hear him celebrate the future they'd all worked toward. His father's voice echoes in his memory. Don't let them go. Zora's serious face. If you want to be our dad for real, you have to actually do it. Not just say it. Luna's drawing of a family that doesn't exist yet, but could. If he's brave enough. David grips the podium. Takes a breath. Thank you all for being here tonight. His voice shakes slightly. 3 years ago, when my company was drowning, Robert Moreno threw me a lifeline. He saved everything I'd built. Asked for very little in return. Trusted me when most people wouldn't. Nods of agreement from the crowd. That trust. That partnership. It meant everything. Still does. David pauses. But I need to tell you all something about who I am and the mistakes I've made. Confusion ripples through the room. Sable goes pale. 7 years ago, I was in love with a woman named Nova Winter. When I got a promotion that required relocating, I left her. Told her she wasn't part of my future. It was the most selfish thing I've ever done. Whispers start. David pushes on. What I didn't know was that she was pregnant. with twin daughters. Girls I never knew existed until 2 weeks ago. Gasps. More whispers. Robert half rises from his seat, face reddening. Their names are Zora and Luna. They're 6 years old. Smart and kind and perfect. And they figured out on their own that I'm their father because I have their eyes, apparently. Because they're too intelligent to be fooled by adults pretending things aren't what they are. Sable is crying now. Silently. Her mascara running. My father met them last week. He's dying. Has maybe days left. And meeting his granddaughters was the happiest I've seen him in years. Because they're what actually matters. Not business deals or merger announcements or any of this. David's voice breaks. He looks directly at Robert. You saved my company. You gave me a second chance when I didn't deserve it. And I will spend the rest of my life grateful for that. But the price you asked, marriage to your daughter, I can't pay it. Because Sable deserves someone who loves her completely. Not someone who's pretending while his heart is somewhere else. David, don't. Robert's voice is thunder. I'm in love with Nova Winter. I have been for 7 years. And she's leaving. Taking my daughters to Seattle in 10 days because I've been too much of a coward to choose them. To sacrifice this comfortable life for something real. The room is dead silent now. David turns to Sable. I'm so sorry. You are one of the best people I've ever known. You deserve a love story that's all about you. Not one where you're competing with ghosts. And I can't give you that. Sable stands, dignity somehow intact despite her tears. You're really doing this? Here. Now. I promised you I wouldn't do it at this event. I'm breaking that promise. I'm breaking all of them. Because I finally realized, 7 years too late, that the only promise worth keeping is the one I make to myself. To be honest. To choose what's real over what's comfortable. Isabella stands, furious. You are destroying both our families. I know. And I'm sorry. But I can't marry your daughter while teaching my daughters that love means settling for less than you deserve. Ricardo is on his feet now too. You understand what this means. The merger is dead. Every partnership, every investment, gone. Your company won't survive the week. I know. Then you're a fool. Probably. But I'd rather be a fool who tried than a coward who didn't. David sets down the microphone. The room erupts in chaos. Shouting. Accusations. The scrape of chairs as people stand. Security moves toward him. David doesn't resist as they grab his arms, begin escorting him toward the exit. He looks back once. Sees Sable standing alone at the head table, surrounded by her family, watching him leave. For a moment, their eyes meet. I really am sorry, he mouths. She nods once. Then turns away. David is pulled through the ballroom, past shocked guests and flashing phone cameras. Someone is already live-streaming this. By tomorrow, his professional reputation will be destroyed. He doesn't care. Outside in the cool night air, security releases him. You need to leave the property now. David walks to his car, hands shaking, adrenaline crashing through his system. He'd done it. Actually done it. Thrown away everything he spent years building for a chance at something he might never get. His phone is exploding. Texts. Calls. Notifications. He ignores all of it. Drives to Nova's house. Her lights are on. He can see movement through the windows. Packing boxes probably. Getting ready for the move. David sits in his car for a long moment. Then gets out. Walks to her door. Knocks. Nova answers in sweatpants and an old t-shirt, hair in a messy bun, tape dispenser in one hand. She stares at him. You're supposed to be at your gala. I was. I left. Why? Because I chose you. I chose Zora and Luna. I chose being honest over being comfortable. Nova's expression doesn't change. What does that mean, David? It means I just told 300 people that I'm in love with you. That I can't marry Sable because you're the only one who matters. It means I probably destroyed my company and my reputation and every professional relationship I have.
You did what? I chose you. I finally actually chose you. Nova steps back, letting him see inside her house. Boxes everywhere. Half-packed. The girls' artwork on the walls. Their backpacks by the door. We're still leaving, she says quietly. The words hit him like a punch. What? We're still moving to Seattle. I accepted the job. The girls are enrolled in their new school. I'm not changing my entire life because you had a dramatic moment at a party. Nova, I just gave up everything. No. You gave up what you should have given up 7 years ago. You don't get a medal for finally doing the right thing. Her voice is steady, but her eyes are wet. Do you know what it took to build this life? To raise twins alone while starting a business? To be strong enough for them when all I wanted to do was fall apart? I know. You don't know. You have no idea. And now you show up, having destroyed your own life, expecting me to fix it. To tell you it's all okay and welcome you back with open arms. That's not. I don't trust you, David. I don't trust that this isn't just guilt or panic or another impulsive decision you'll regret later. Because that's what you do. You make big dramatic choices and then you leave when they get hard. I'm not leaving this time. Prove it. Nova crosses her arms. Prove that this isn't about you feeling noble or trying to ease your conscience. Prove that you actually want to be a father. Not just play one when it's convenient. How? Tell me how and I'll do it. She's quiet for a long moment. The girls are asleep upstairs. They made you that drawing because Luna thought you might want to remember what we look like when we're gone. She doesn't expect you to choose us. None of us do. I'm choosing you right now. Words are cheap, David. You're standing on my porch at midnight, jobless and broken, because you finally hit rock bottom. That's not the same as choosing us. That's just having nowhere else to go. The accusation stings because part of it is true. He had waited until everything else fell apart. You're right, David admits. I should have done this years ago. Or weeks ago. Or any time before tonight. But I'm doing it now. And yeah, maybe it's too late. Maybe I've lost you forever. But I needed you to know. Even if you never forgive me. Even if you move to Seattle and I never see you again. I finally chose right. A door opens upstairs. Small footsteps on the stairs. Luna appears, rubbing her eyes, wearing pajamas with stars on them. Mama, who are you talking to? She sees David through the screen door. Her eyes go wide. Mr. Ashley, did you come to say goodbye? David kneels down to her level. Not goodbye, Luna. I came to tell you something. What? That I'm your dad. And I've been a terrible father so far. I wasn't there when you were born. Wasn't there when you took your first steps or said your first words. But if you and your sister and your mama will let me, I want to try to do better. Zora appears next to Luna, also in pajamas. Better how? By showing up. Being there. Even when it's hard or inconvenient. Even when I mess up, which I probably will a lot. But actually trying. Are you moving to Seattle with us? Zora asks. David looks at Nova. If you'll let me. Yes. What about your company? Nova asks. Your life here? I don't have a company anymore. After tonight, I probably won't have much of anything. But I'd rather start over with you than keep building something without you. Luna looks at her sister. Some silent communication passes between them. Then Luna says, Can he come upstairs? We want to show him our room before we have to pack it. Girls, it's late. Nova's voice is strained. Please, Mama. Zora's voice is soft. Just for a little bit. Nova looks at David for a long moment. He can see the war in her eyes. The desire to protect herself and her daughters versus the tiniest possibility that maybe, this time, he means what he says. Finally, she steps aside. 15 minutes. Then you leave. David steps into the house. The girls grab his hands, one on each side,
pull him toward the stairs. You have to see the telescope Luna got for her birthday, Zora says. And the art supplies, Luna adds. Mama says we can bring them all to Seattle. They show him their room. Twin beds with matching quilts. Stuffed animals everywhere. Drawings taped to the walls. They show him Luna's telescope and Zora's collection of rocks. They tell him about their favorite books and their friends at school and how they're nervous about moving but also excited. David sits on the floor between their beds, listening to them chatter, and feels something crack open in his chest. This is what he missed. This ordinariness. This sweetness. This simple joy of children sharing their world. When 15 minutes pass, Nova appears in the doorway. Time's up. But Mama. Luna starts. Bed. Both of you. It's a school night. Reluctantly, the girls climb into their beds. David stands, starts to leave. Wait. Zora says. Will we see you again before we move? David looks at Nova. She gives the smallest nod. If your mama says it's okay, I'd like to see you again. As much as she'll allow. Every day. Luna asks hopefully. Let's start with tomorrow. Nova says. If you're serious about this, you can help us pack. 3 p.m. Don't be late. It isn't forgiveness. It isn't even acceptance. But it's a chance. I'll be here, David promises. He leaves them there. 2 little girls tucked into their beds. Their mother watching him with guarded eyes. Outside, sitting in his car, David checks his phone. 63 missed calls. Hundreds of texts and emails. All of them probably telling him what a disaster he'd created. He deletes them without reading. Then he calls the one number that matters. His father's hospice nurse answers. Mr. Ashley, your father asked me to tell you something. If you called. Is he awake? Can I talk to him? He's sleeping now. But he was watching the live stream of your gala. He saw what you did. And he smiled, Mr. Ashley. First time I've seen him smile in weeks. He said to tell you he's proud of you, son. David ends the call. Sits in the darkness of Nova's street. And lets himself cry. For everything he lost. Everything he found. Everything he still might lose. But for the first time in 7 years, the tears feel clean. Like washing away old lies to make room for difficult truths. He'd chosen love. Finally. Completely. With no safety net and no guarantee of success. Now he just had to prove he could actually follow through. Tomorrow at 3 p.m., he'd show up to help them pack. And the day after that. And every day until they left for Seattle. And then he'd follow them there. Start over. Build something new from the ashes of everything he'd burned down tonight. He didn't know if Nova would ever trust him again. Didn't know if he could be the father Zora and Luna deserved. Didn't know if any of this would work. But he was going to try. Really try this time. And for the first time in his life, that felt like enough.